when I was there, I mean, it's, if you don't work there, you can't explain it to somebody where they would understand it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it was, everything was loose. Everybody was in a positive mood. It was just, it was a whole different feeling, whole different vibe. Period. And which means it's being done right and done right by the right people.
All right, so I want to talk about it because also what made the rounds was Triple H tweeted out a picture of you, him, and Brock. So I know it's obviously Brock was your guest.
Yep.
What was it like, first of all, for Brock to be there with you, to be a part of that experience? Because that had to be very cool for him, number one. And then number two, talk to us a little bit about your time with Triple H.
Well, Brock is a little subdued. He doesn't get over the top, too bent out of shape about anything. You know, he's very respectful, very nice kid, very respectful of the business and the people in it, you know, and the knowledge that he's acquired from just keeping up with social media and watching the shows and all the things that you have to do to learn the business. And if you're not at work every single day like we used to be, you learned it the job, you know, on the job. But you know, I'm very proud of him. That goes without saying. And he's very, very respectful where the business goes. And I was glad to see everybody get to see him in that light. And I mean, we were both just like, you know, and we looked at each other a couple of things and went a couple of times during the day and went, man, this is nice, isn't it? Yeah, it sure is, Dad.
I'm sure Triple H was busy because it's show day. It's a big day. He's running things from a creative perspective. You always see him in the back there talking with talent, but he always makes time to take the pictures with people. And he made sure he took time to take a picture with you and Brock. Was that just the time that you had spent there when you got the picture with him? Was that the time you got to interact with him?
Being there and knowing the responsibilities that I had on pay per view day, there's no downtime. So I waited to go up to. Cody had already went to the ring and was in the final stages of his match before I ever even went up there. So I didn't want to be a distraction, and that's what it would have been. So I just kind of stayed in catering, stayed out of everybody's way. And then when the match was over, I walked up, obviously hugged Cody's neck. Hunter came around, hugged his neck. I didn't take any time away from the job that, you know, because I can only imagine how dialed in he's got to be. He's sitting at the helm of a 3.5, 4 hour show that's just, God knows the content that he's responsible for. But, you know, that picture was pretty cool. And it's on a personal note. He and I always had a really good relationship. And it was very rewarding to have that picture for me personally with Brock and Hunter and
Yeah.
myself.
Wow. Mm,
It's a personal thing with me. It's not a
sure.
publicity. It's a personal thing, and it goes all the way back. He was one of the kids that, when he very first came to WCW, Rick and I threw him in the back of the Cadillac and said, "You're going with us." And because you knew just right away, just talking to him for 10 minutes, he had his head on right. He had all the right goals. Everything was in line. So
Was that the first time that Brock's met Triple H?
no, but he was younger, obviously.
Okay.
I was, you know, I've been gone 5 years, right? So it
Sure.
was at least 5 years since he had seen him. But
You hear on TV, whether it was this year at the Hall of Fame or at WrestleMania, how much they said it's the Triple H era. And you've seen people come out and just say what a difference it feels like. And that it feels like it's just a totally new company backstage. But now here you are again. You said it. You worked with them for 19 long years. And for you to come back and just, you're saying that feeling, you felt that feeling while you were there, just of newness and joy and a refreshed atmosphere.
you know, the pressure when I was there, I mean, it's if you don't work there, you can't explain it to somebody where they would understand it. But yeah, I mean, it was, everything was loose. Everybody was in a positive mood. It was a whole different feeling, whole different vibe, period. And which means it's being done right, and done right by the right people.
That's great to hear. It's great for the boys and girls that work there. You know what I mean? That's a huge win for them.
It's great for the business in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess there was no further conversations of, hey, come on back, or we'd love to have you here, or just it was like a, hey, it was a great one-off type opportunity. Is that where we're at kind of with it? Because
It's all it needed to be that day. There
Gotcha.
was no reason to sit down and start going, okay, you're interested in doing anything else? Would you like to do anything? It was left on just a really, I mean, they had a box for us with catering for just the legends up in the stadium. You know, I mean, who does that? You know, so it was the end to a perfect day. I mean, if you want to be treated, you know, like a Hall of Famer, they damn sure did it. They treated us all like Hall of Famers.
It's the respect level too, and you always know Triple H. You can tell the respect he had for Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA and in the early days. That was what he loved to watch. JCP.
Well, and he's a wrestler's wrestler. He's a performer. He's not a gimmick. You know, which gimmicks are fine. You got to have some of them on the show too, but he's not, you know, he's a performance artist. He's a storyteller. He's a fighter. He's all those things, you know, that those of us that can't do the acrobatics or have an unusual look or unusually big or unusually ugly or unusually handsome, who find a niche in the business. He was a performance artist, I guess is what you could say. But, you know, he went out and he made you believe that he was in a fight with his opponent. And, you know, he's kind of old school. If you really want to think about it, say it, you know, he's old school.
First, I want to start with some sports news, Arn, because college football season is right around the corner. I know you love your Georgia Bulldogs. They're ranked preseason #1. They got 16 starters coming back, including Carson Beck. And they got teams on their schedule like Clemson, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Auburn, Tennessee. It's loaded. And I want to get your opinion on your boys from Georgia this year. How you feeling going into the college football season?
Well, it just validates what I've been saying. They should have been in that last 4 teams playoffs. You know, the fact that they lost 1 game, but in 2 years, and now your champions from last year, aren't they just a shoe in to get that first ranking #1 the next year? I mean, your national champion.
Yeah, they should be.
Normally.
Yeah.
So, well, they're not. Michigan, right?
Yep.
Georgia's ranked #1. You just got, you know, now they just got to go out and play up to expectations. And I just love college football, love NFL football, just as you do. And when is the actual first game? Is it next week? Or
for college, or well, NFL,
college.
I know is until the first week of September. College, I'm not sure. I'll rely on Andrew. He's in the chat. He'll tell me, because I'm not. You know, I follow college a little bit, but not to the degree that that you boys do. So I'll wait to find out from him when the first game is. But you mentioned Carolina and NFL. Are you feeling a little better this year about the Panthers, or no?
I just try to stay optimistic.
Okay.
I beat them up. You know, when it's that fair weather thing that we all have. We try not to have it, but we do. It sure is nice to be sitting on the couch watching the Panthers play when they're winning. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. It's like watching the Braves, you know. It's if they're 0 for everything, it's hard to get enthusiastic about it. I don't put a lot of stock in preseason because none of the starters play. So you don't know what you got.
You're absolutely right. You never know what you got until the games actually start. It's fun to watch like the first drive or two, and you get that fever back. But again, let's get through that without any injuries, and everybody's hopeful at this. Everybody has to be optimistic. If not, then like you said, what's the point? August 24th, college football kickoff. So 11 days.
Oh, beautiful. Well, and one thing I always try to do, athletes are marks, for lack of a better word, for other sports. All the things that I know physically I cannot do, I am a fan of those guys that can do it.
Yeah.
So it's better off just to keep my mouth shut, like, oh yeah, what NFL team were you on, So
Well, you know what? It's competition. We love competition. So